Hey everyone, so we are out here in the morning. Dad gave me a call this morning and said that one of the cows, actually one of the big Brahma cows, had gotten out on the neighbor's land, and so he came out and was looking around to see where the cow had gotten out at, and he found where she had gotten out through a gap in the fence. So he gave me a call and said, hey, you want to film this morning? So I said, sure. It's one of those things that we always have to do around the farm. It's a never-ending job. And so it took us a while to get back here. It's kind of it's actually on the north back in a corner of the field. And he wanted me to start filming up here so that way you could see how difficult it is to get to some of these places, especially when it's back in the brush. I personally think that maybe he wanted to have evidence of me slipping and falling in the mud, but we'll see. So I'm going to turn you around, and actually let me start up here because then you can kind of see the path. So this is a little bit of a path here. This is where the cows come down and tromp down here to get to the creek. We got some rain yesterday, actually a fair amount of rain, so it's pretty muddy right now. There's also some brush that we have to walk through to get down here. Dad and Jordan have already crossed over. Jordan comes out here and helps us out on the farm sometimes. Dad really can't get around as well as he used to. He's had a couple of back surgeries, a couple of knee replaced, so he takes all the extra help that he can get. Oh, I did not fall, I just slipped. Alright, so we're over here on the other side of the creek. That's where I slipped. And what's happened here is an old rotted out tree has fallen over and crumbled, and it took out this fence right here. So here's this nice big old tree here. Like I said, that's just gotten old and rotted out. You can see how it's crumbled apart here. And so we've got to first cut the tree so we can get it moved over, hopefully. So this fencing that's here, it's not the barbed wire fence. On top of it we've got this fencing here and then barbed wire behind it, but it took out both of them, and honestly the cow just stepped right on over the fence, and she went over here into the neighboring pasture where it's a little bit greener and just had herself a grand old time. She ended up getting back in. Dad opened a gate for her, and so she moved herself back in, so she's good, but we still have to go ahead and fix this before any other cows get out.
Katie, you show them on this water gap here too.
Oh, yeah.
What happens to the water gap that's still all the way through their pipe and it's hung up. That's what.
Well, here, you want to explain it?
Well, what a water gap is when you get a stream or a creek, and this is just a little creek. When you get a bunch of rain and stuff, the brush builds up. It usually takes it out. And what our neighbor did, it's a good idea to all this brush is, he made it out of metal, That way it won't bust, but it's holding all the brush. So you can imagine a lot of times what they use is car hoods so they'll float away. But with all the rains that we've had the last 2 or 3 years, we've had extreme amount of brush come down the creek.
So underneath you can see kind of where the wire is, or not the wire, the post that he was talking about up here. It's really kind of hard to see, but there are some posts that are through there, some metal posts. And so all of this brush that has come down the stream and gets caught, typically what happens if it's just like a barbed wire fence with some regular posts, it'll get all caught up in there and then take out the fence. And so then it becomes another place where the cows can get through. So there's fixing where the water gaps are so that way the cows don't get through, especially after we've had big rains. So today's fence here is a pretty quick fix. The biggest thing that we had to do is cut the tree so that way we could take it out and go ahead and stretch the wire back up, put it up around the post. It's still pretty loose right now. The wire is stretched a little bit from where the tree came down. Do you need the big pliers, Dad? So now we're going to try to shore it up a little bit.
And then we've got another one to get yet too.
Oh, we have another what? Another place to fix?
Yeah. Or do you want to get this? Never mind, it shows mud here. See it there? Yeah.
Here, where's the poison ivy at? Let me point to it.
Right there.
Oh, and here?
It's just small leaves, those 3. Hadn't started growing yet big yet.
Well, you're allergic to it too, aren't you?
But I'll wash my hands with it.
Oh, here. Here.
Fixed.
Right.
Oh, well, you stopped before I could do it.
Well, you'll see it.
Okay. You can see how he's twisting the wire here to tighten it up.
Do that up there.
Where do we do that?
Right there's fine. Just trying to tie it up. Do it again on that part there. Yeah.
So it's not super pretty. It's not going to fix it all the way, but it's going to get it good enough for now that the cows won't get in and out.
Because the creek might come up again.
Yeah, the creek might come up again, and then
how far it's been.
we'll have the same problem again. So how much rain did we get yesterday, Dad?
Oh, we didn't get that much, maybe half inch. That didn't cause this. That was already part that was that way
Right, just
from the last rain. This, we've had wind lately, and it might have been down for a few days. Can't tell. You can see pictures how stuff's floated down in here.
see how it's built up around here. This is where the water pools up, and then it flows over and down into that creek part down there. Oh, Mom says for you to explain the fencing pliers, Dad. Hang on, I'm coming. What? Gotta grab some of the supplies over here. So here's where the creek is right now, and you can see up there on the ridge how much there is up there, and then over here where all the trees have come down. That's how high this creek can get when we have a lot of rain and it builds up. So Dad, whenever you get a moment and you're not telling you want to tell about your fencing pliers. So now we've got this other part here.
What do I need to do?
Tell about your fencing pliers. what they are.
These are fencing pliers, and what they're for, if you see the little notches on each side right here, this cuts the wire, and this looks like a hammer right here. That's to drive a steeple into a wooden post. This point here is to pull the steeple out, and also you can put it around here to pull the wire tight, and these two notches up here are to hold wire to pull wire.
Okay. Farmer's best friend.
Right. Will that pull off like Jordan?
Yeah.
I'm not done with all that rose bush.
So we actually tried to come down here from this side over here. We parked the side-by-side up there on the top of the hill, and we're going to walk down, and then we could see over here how thick this mud is. It was actually probably a good 1.5 feet thick where it's soft, and so if we had tried to come down through there, we would have gotten our boots stuck. So we came around, came the long way. Yeah, I got it. Okay, so you can see Dad's using the fencing pliers, or was a minute ago, to grab a hold of the wire and pull it. This is some barbed wire. Looks like it's already been fixed a time or two before, because you can see where it's been looped around and knotted around.
Go ahead and use the. That's not. Is there any other wire on it? It's not. It's grapevine, isn't it?
So what he's done now, this is a piece of barbed wire from the previous fence, part of it that got cut down. So we're trying to use what's already here to string it back up.
It's a tough old bending piece of wire.
Here, hang on a second. Let me have it. I'll cut this piece off. Then you'll have enough. Maybe.
So you can kind of see as he's yanking on it over here in this area, there's a lot of brush and weeds and brambles that have grown through the fence and over the fence. It's kind of making it hard for it to stretch over. So we have the barbed wire that gets stretched between the posts. That's what keeps the cows from getting through, hopefully. And then we use the smooth wire, what Dad is using right now, to anchor the barbed wire to the posts, or in this case to one of the brambles. So again, it's not, and the repairs are not super. At this point, we just need to get it well enough so that way the cows and calves won't get out and get on to the other property. In fact, this morning, a calf that was out on some of the, it was a calf that was out on some of the property that we rent, and it had just gone through just a little hole in the fence and had gotten out, and luckily we heard about it pretty quickly.
It was an old tree that fell on it.
Okay. And it was just enough that the calf got out. But we were able to get over, well, not me. Mom and Dad were able to get over and get it fixed pretty quickly and get the calf in. Dad, why are you wearing gloves?
So I won't cut my hands.
What kind of gloves are those? What are they made out of?
They're made out of leather and canvas. They're heavy. See if you can get this from Jordan.
So those leather gloves, leather canvas gloves, help him to not get cut from either the wire or the barbed wire or any of the branches. Protects his hands, and he's able to get in there more, yank around on it more than he would if he was just using his bare hands. Oh yeah, she's got some prints in there, doesn't she? So, and even though this wire is smooth and it doesn't have, you know, any barbs on it, when it gets cut over here on the end, it can be pretty sharp. Right, Dad?
What?
Can't the ends of that be pretty sharp?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hole in your face.
Yes, it can poke a hole in your face, which I know very well.
In your cheek.
In your cheek. Years ago, I don't even know how old I was, not very old, maybe 10 or so. Sean and I had come out to help Dad. I think we were actually just putting up fence. Yeah, we were up at Warrensburg at some land up there, and Dad had cut a piece of wire and pulled it, and I thought that I had just gotten a scratch on my face from it, and no, it was actually sharp enough that it poked a hole through my cheek, and the only reason I realized that is because there was some blood on the inside of my cheek. It didn't hurt, it was just a little scratch, but yeah. It went clear through. Yeah, I didn't even notice it. Like, I thought it was just a scratch. Like, we didn't have to pull it out or anything. But, yeah, so a word to the wise, you keep your face back. So, Dad, what are you doing there with the wire?
This up and down.
Uh-huh.
I put it up and down. It keeps it more solid like this for temporary use. That they can't spread it apart. See how it is?
Mm-hmm.
I wove it around through it. Tied to this grapevine here. This is just a temporary fix, but it will work.
Is that the old post there that's buried in there?
Yeah. That's how high the water. When we get a big rain, it'll probably do it again.
So the water gets clear up here. All right. Is that it?
Yeah.
Is there any more? Okay. Yeah.
We'll post in, but that'll be it.
Yeah, that's fine. All right. Well, I'm going to move just over here a little bit so they can get out. Here again. So this is where
You can see how hard
we were just at.
to get in and out of here.
Yeah. And we're going to stop videoing before I have to try to get in and out of here because I don't want to slip again. All right. So let me turn you around. So that was just another fun little thing that we have to do on the farm. You know, we've talked a lot about how there are fun things that we do and there are jobs that we have to do just all the time to keep the farm going, to keep the cows and calves safe. And this is just one of those things that has to be done. And it happens quite often, especially when you have this much land. So, no, I didn't get a picture of that. They were going up the hill and caught a slick spot. Poor Jordan's hauling all the stuff though. He was hauling the chainsaw and the barbed wire and everything, but I didn't get a picture of him. So this is just another thing that happens on the farm. And you know what? If you're ever looking to come out and experience the fun times of fixing fence, I am sure that Dad would take some extra hands and you can come on out and go through and help fix some fence. But anyway, tomorrow, hope you guys